The megatrend from plans to principles is very important to understand. If you're faced with a situation where you're thinking, hey, we need a new leadership paradigm, we need people to be much more responsible about the decisions that they make, and we need to move away from headquarter mentality. It's not to say that we are not going to make plans in the future. Plans are fine if you are faced with a reality where you have to solve a specific task, where you're kind of like, safe and secure. We have to build an engine or build a rocket, and we need people to adhere to different kinds of tasks, and you can do management on it, and it's kind of like a predictable future that you're in. Then plans work really well. But if you're facing a future of insecurity and where you have a lot of changing needs and demands and new people, new technology coming in, then plans are just too rigid. You actually see a lot of large institutions today that are going away from budget planning because they say, hey, time is taking its turn on us and it's already here, and we need to be much more flexible in the way that we approach our future. The thing about principles is that principles define us. So it's actually not something normative. It's more to say that we are all we're all human beings. We have these organizations, and they are defined by a certain set of principles. Let's say that you want to build a zoo. Then I'll tell you that, the principles of making a zoo is that you need some animals, you need some cages or some areas that they can go in, and people will want to buy tickets to come and watch your animals. And maybe then you'll say, hey, that's fine with me, but I don't want any animals. I just want furniture instead. And then I'll have to say, well, hey, then it's not, it's not a zoo anymore. Then it's kind of like, maybe a store or something. So you can't just take stuff away and say that it's still the same thing that it ought to be. I heard about a union that said that they didn't want to be solidary in the future anymore because they thought that solidarity was kind of like an outgoing concept. And then you could ask the question, but are you still a union if you don't want solidarity between people? Maybe you're just a membership organization and something. So what you need to do is not so much to go out and find new things. You actually have to go in and find the things that define you as a person, as an organization, as a public sector. And then you'll find that you'll attract the people who have the same set of principles. Of course, we still need freedom of mind. Of course, we shouldn't say that the principles are always universal, because then we'll end up becoming like terrorists. But we need to have these principles that define our actions and that will help us choose the right decisions when we are faced with a dilemma. In Denmark, we have a principle among the soldiers, and that is solve the task at hand. And to quote a friend I have in the Danish military, he said that solving the task at hand means that if you are on an assignment and you're making this exercise and you didn't bring enough guns, well, then you have to find a twig and then just shout bang. And that actually means that many soldiers from Denmark have a very good name when they go abroad, because they just have this principle that wherever situation they're in, I have to fix the problem. I have to solve the task at hand. So find out the principles that define you and test them out in different situations and see if that actually makes it easier to define your leadership paradigm for the future. Thank you.